Welcome back to Scramble Drill. This is it's a quote-unquote Dynasty episode, but also we don't have like a ton of Dynasty content in today's episode, a little bit, just a touch to talk on, and it's different than normal. Obviously, I am here, Landon is here, and Josh finally got off of his butt and joined us for a Dynasty episode. Gentlemen, welcome, and how are we doing?
Doing absolutely wonderful.
Are
now
you?
that I have decided to stop being lazy
Yes,
and
thank you.
join the grind that
Thank
is
you.
the Dynasty Dive.
We have things to do.
There are things to do. Dynasty shaping up. I'm doing well because I'm digging these trades that went down in the NFL this week.
Oh, I bet you are, particularly for one of them.
I'm
Particularly
digging
for
these
one of
trades
them.
that have gone down. Yeah, actually both of them. I like both of them.
Oh, I love both of them.
We're definitely going to talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Do we know of any news? The only things I've seen news-wise are Cooper Kupp is looking like he's going to play Sunday. Really hope
praise
he
God.
is. Really hope he is, because I'm counting on him.
I am in such dire need.
There's a couple places.
Josh is
Goodness.
Josh, the Mully team is 2-4 and in desperate need of a Cooper Kupp.
I am in such dire need of a 15-target Cooper Kupp game. I mean, you would not believe.
I hope that happens because I'm also playing you in log this week, and I would love to smack you after I just gained the top overall spot. It's wonderful.
That would be my luck, wouldn't it? That I
I
get him
hope
in the
that
Granddaddy
happens.
them all, but then he takes away a victory in log.
And
That's just
then
how it
I
goes.
use him to beat you in log, and you still lose in the Granddaddy of them all. How
that would
feel,
be
Josh?
my luck. That's probably how it's going to go.
I hope it happens that way. It's nothing personal. This is only business. Other shred of news, Nick Chubb was a full participant in practice. Full participant.
From the grave.
Boys, is he back?
I mean, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Is he,
Yes.
is he
Define your
2019? Is he 2019 Nick Chubb? No, he is not. Is he going to go for 140 and 2 touchdowns? No, he's not.
He might
But,
over
hey,
the next
maybe,
3 weeks total.
Maybe by the end of the year, like he's their top running back. Like he's healthy enough to be their top running back and still Nick Chubb, but just the offense is so bad. I mean,
Well, they just got rid of a
Even
certain
if he's-
receiver we'll talk about.
even if he's 80% of what he was, which I don't love the chances of this year, like, I mean, the offense, what in the world?
He'll be
What in the
lucky to
world?
get in the red zone 2-3 times a game. Lucky.
He better be getting 60-yard touchdowns because if he doesn't, he's not scoring
Yeah,
touchdowns.
off a destroyed knee, that man's getting 60-yard touchdowns every game. Yeah, sure.
That's
What are they,
your
the
only shot.
Only team in the NFL to not score 20 points yet. They are.
That is embarrassing.
Have they not scored 20?
No.
They have not hit 20. I saw the Venn diagram. It's every NFL team on one side, and then the Browns have not hit 20 points. It's like
That's
there's
I mean,
no
we have-
way.
I mean, man, Deshaun, I'm telling you, I have kept up with the statistical downfall of Deshaun Watson. I had not watched a full game until my Commanders played them the other week. Dude, it's hard to watch. And I watched a good bit of the Eagles game this week too. It is like, so good for Nick Chubb. I mean, I hope he's healthy. I hope, he performs this year and has another couple years in him. But how old is he? 28, 29?
28.
28, coming off this injury with a bad offense in a timeshare. Like, I mean,
I'm hopeful maybe
What do you
next
want me to
season he comes to get something like. But that's genuinely all he is. Like he's a stash on the bench somewhere. Like maybe we can find the nugget with him. I hope he does. If you're a long time listener to the show, Josh and I we like Nick Chubb. He's a big fan of him. Just a good guy.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice
I
guy.
like Nick Chubb.
Maybe
I like
I'm
Nick Chubb.
biased. Maybe there is that a little bit of I just like Nick Chubb, but Derrick Henry being as good as he has been at what 32,
Yeah.
31.
Derrick Henry
I know-
also is not coming off.
I know
a
Derrick
devastating
Henry's
knee
an
injury.
outlier. I know Derrick Henry is an outlier, not coming off of getting his leg snapped in half. But Nick Chubb is one of those in a very, very like tiny group of players that you would say are outlier talents. I wouldn't bet on it, but there's a chance. Maybe there's something there.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh, I got another piece of news.
Oh yeah.
Jonathan Brooks, his window's opened up.
Hey,
You guys mentioned him. You guys mentioned him on
I'm
the podcast
curious
a
what
little
you
bit this
think.
week. What do I think?
what are they going to do in that backfield? Because Chuba Hubbard has been not just like a good fill-in, like he's been legitimately good.
One of the
behind
better
that
backs in the
offensive line.
league.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jonathan Brooks' outlook even more. Not for this year, but because of how good Chuba's been. I know he's better than Chuba, and like people thought, man, the offense is going to be so bad. What is Jonathan? I mean, could anybody do anything? And Chuba's shown you, yeah, like you can. This year, if you're counting on Jonathan Brooks to win you a league, I think you're in trouble. I don't love the outlook rest of season. I mean, you know, maybe by the end of the year, is he getting the majority of the snaps by week 15? Maybe. But, I mean, Chuba being as good as he's been is not what's scaring me. It's just the injury, the level of talent on this roster. Like, they're not going to be in a playoff hunt. So why are you going to? I mean, why would you
You
try
have
to
no reason
pile
to
on
use
him?
him.
No reason. No reason. And it's not even how good Chuba's been. It's just like I wouldn't want to. If you think you're going to be good in the next few years, which I'm not sure we think that, but if the Panthers think that, I'm going to save this guy and not try to pile on this year.
Yeah. Also, a guy who's coming off the pup was limited today. T.J. Hawkinson. Looks like he's on his way back.
I did not know that.
Potentially
one.
this week. Potentially this
Okay.
week.
Interesting. Tight end
Where-
landscape has been so bad that Ben is
Yeah.
clinging to the optimism.
I mean, do I have a reason not to?
No, you have every reason
Yeah.
to be optimistic.
I mean,
He's gonna be way more fantasy viable than Brooks.
Oh, definitely.
Like, yeah, like way more. Like that's actually something. Like,
Yeah, and I'm
TJ
not-
Hawkinson coming back is with the way they've been playing. Like you're gonna be able to play him in his third or fourth game back probably, and I'm not sure that's the case with Brooks.
Yeah, I'm not counting on him as a top 10 tight end, this week, but in 2 or 3 weeks, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be shocked if he's top 5
I think-
at tight end.
I think 3 or 4 weeks in, he's probably like, if you kind of punted on tight end and just like went with him and just said, I'll see what I get once he comes back, he's probably locked in on your roster in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
after
I hope
starting,
you've been
so.
treading water until you get him because he can be a finisher for the playoffs.
Dude, the way tight ends have been, you could have picked up anyone and be treading water at this point.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. The only other thing, and I just thought this was funny, Alvin Kamara, I believe, is the only Saint active for tomorrow night's game. Rashid Shaheed, Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, and Chris Olave are all out for the Saints. So if you thought Thursday night has been bad, dear Lord, buckle in.
It's Bub Means season.
It is Bub Means and my boy Spencer Rattler. Go Gamecocks. Love the guy. No, he's not succeeding with this weapon group.
I
Can
know
I,
y'all are dialed in, but did either one of y'all know who Bub Means was prior to Sunday?
I did not.
No.
And I probably am going to forget the name this week.
I would have thought, wait, is that the guy from Friday Night Lights? No. Can I give a prediction on highest scorer for tomorrow night?
Go ahead.
Broncos defense?
I could see that.
Is that the highest scorer in the game? I mean, they're going to come away with like 12 points and be the highest scorer on either team.
I wouldn't
could
say
see
that's
that,
a bold prediction. I would say that's actually likely.
This feels like when I picked up the Raiders defense against the Justin Herbertless
shut
Chargers
up,
last
Josh.
year.
Shut up.
Same situation. You've got 30 points waiting to happen from your defense spot this week.
I legitimately, I probably am not going to watch tomorrow night's game. Like we
I
will
will not
text
be
each other
watching.
that
No, I will
as a
not be
joke.
watching.
Like when we're excited for a game, we're like, oh yeah, I'm probably not watching. No, I'm not watching tomorrow night's game.
No, I won't be watching.
Huge NFL fan, huge fantasy fan. I am not watching that.
No, I'll be watching baseball.
All right. So we know what we're here for. There's 2 trades that happened yesterday. One, I feel like we were sort of expecting. The guy's been wanting to trade Davante Adams. The other trade kind of surprised me, just because I wasn't expecting it to happen. So, yeah, that's exciting. So let's get into it. Davante Adams, he's to the Jets for a conditional 3rd-round pick. Discuss. Josh, I'll turn it to you first.
I mean, I don't know. My knee-jerk reaction was not a Davante Adams reaction. It was a Garrett Wilson reaction more than anything else. Because
I was mad too.
I mean,
I got a lot of Garrett Wilson shares. I'm like, gotta be kidding me. Like, he just now put back back-to-back 20-point games. He's a wide receiver 1 now.
Because I mean, I have no doubts that Davante Adams pretty much picks up where he left off. I mean, he's got that mind meld with Aaron Rodgers in the red zone of all places too.
Yeah.
And
that's the key.
And yes, and the thing is, Rodgers has been looking at Allen Lazard in the red zone. That's not a thing anymore. It is Davante Adams in the red. And then the real question is just with coverage being more focused on Davante Adams as the one in the offense, because he is the one in the offense now. What does that mean for the other pass catchers and the weapons? Does it mean that the rising tide raises all ships, or does it mean that everybody has a little bit more of a cap than they've had before?
It's interesting. I think Lazard is dead, for sure. You can lock that in. I mean, obviously, as a Garrett Wilson owner, I would prefer him to be getting 12 to 14 targets a game, regardless. But I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? The nuggets you get is maybe he doesn't get as many targets, but instead of 12 to 14 maybe bad targets, he's now getting 8 probably really good targets. So there's that, I guess, you can cling on to. It's annoying because if they added like almost any other receiver in the NFL, like if they went and added, I'm trying to think, even a good receiver, like if they went and added a Christian Kirk or somebody like that, like I wouldn't be as worried as they added Adams because he knows Davante.
Yeah. So to me, I think he and Wilson, if you ask me who gets more targets the rest of the year, I think it's pretty close. I could even see, honestly, Garrett Wilson out-targeting him. I actually could. But, dude, the red zone. Like, I could see also, from this point on, Davante Adams we're going into week 7?
Yeah.
Like, if you told me he has 8 touchdowns the rest of the year, 9 touchdowns, I'd probably believe you. Like, I think that's what Rodgers been missing. He's because the Jets, I mean, their offense hasn't been great altogether, but there's been a lot of field goals. Like there's been a lot of chances for touchdowns where they've come away with 3, and I think just there's not any combination of players that were on separate teams that could be traded to the same team and instantly click like these two are going to. We remember what this is like. I mean, we saw this for like 7 years, and Davante was always, you could lock him in for 8 touchdowns, and then that's where the floor was, and it could climb to, what did he get to? Did he score 16, 15
I think he scored 16 one year.
It was ridiculous.
Lot. It was a lot. So, the Garrett Wilson conversation is interesting because for me, for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock them in. Like if I had a rankings every week, I'd probably lock them in until we see how this actually shakes out. I'd rank them back to back, maybe somewhere 14 to 17 each. Like that's what I'm thinking right now. And it may
be like the Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery of receivers.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I could see it being like what Stephon Diggs has done this year, where he comes in, he's not getting a ton of targets like we've seen Diggs get in the past, but they've just been so efficient and he scored touchdowns and he's really good. Like, I think Davante's going to be good. I think, like I said, I'm going to rank them somewhere 14 to 16. high end to mid wide receiver 2s for right now. Until, hey, who knows? Maybe we go this week and Davante has 13 targets and Garrett Wilson has 7, and we're like, oh,
that's a
shoot.
problem.
Is Davante a top 5 play the rest of the year? Like, I could see that happening. There's a wide range of outcomes, but that's where I'm at right now. It's kind of, they're both high to mid wide receiver 2s until we really see how this shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the practice log. Davante hasn't been practicing, and he logged a full practice today. They said the hamstring
Instantly.
was completely good to go. Completely good to go.
Right away. I called this right away. I don't remember if I said it on a podcast, if we were just talking. When he had a weird scratch, if you'll remember, it was like a Friday. He was added to the injury report, and they said he was out. And I said, usually, if you get added to the injury report on Friday, you're a game time decision, like almost every single time. And I immediately said, something's fishy here. And then as soon as he got traded, I put in the group chat, our Granddaddy of them all group chat, I was like, I bet he gets healthy real fast now. And the first thing, practicing full, healthy, playing on Sunday. I'm like, I told you, it was a little fishy. I'm not saying he wasn't hurt, but there was a big-time NBA feel to that injury where it's like, I'm hurt until you trade me.
It was a little sore, but nothing a little stretching won't fix. I mean,
I'm hurt until you trade me.
My favorite part of this injury was that in a press conference today, Aaron Rodgers said that Davante had found the fountain of youth. And I was like, that is definitely a injury remark right there.
They just have really good doctors in New York. That's what it was. Like, the doctors in Vegas aren't that good. That's why he wanted to get traded, so he could get good medical attention.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the Gardner Minshew Aiden O'Connell combination, it makes those hamstrings a little sore.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing was, remember, he had a decent game like week 2 or 3.
Week 2.
He had like 20 points. He had like over 100 in the touchdown. He had a ton of targets. And it was almost like, I think he played another game after that, but it was almost like, you remember, Josh, you'll remember this more than Ben. Remember a few years ago when James Harden was trying to get traded and he had like 3 games in a row of 40 and then just sat out? He's like, I still got it, guys. Somebody come trade for me. I feel like that was the Davante Adams. Let me get my 100 yards. Let me get a touchdown, and then I'm hurt. Somebody come trade for me. I still got it.
It was the prove it game.
That kind of deal.
Yeah, It was the prove it game. And then I don't know if you watched receiver or not, but last year he was just complaining about how terrible the offense was and how he was getting thrown hospital balls every third ball. He had his prove it game, and then he saw what was happening again, and he was like, can't do it. I cannot do this anymore. I'm out.
Yeah. Get me to Derek Carr, which, what are you doing, Davante? But he said, get me to Derek Carr, get me to Aaron. And he got what he wanted. So I kind of thought this was going to happen all along.
I mean, it was kind of the obvious choice, but.
Yep. And there's a potential another trade coming out of New York, and it's not Mike Williams. I've heard they are interested in Jordy Nelson also.
What, to be their color commentator or what?
No, they're going to trade for Jordy Nelson, and what puts him over the edge? Eddie Lacy.
Go and get. I mean, while we're at it, let's go get
Mr.
Donald Driver and
Cheeseburger
James
himself.
Jones.
Yeah, Greg Jennings is a bodybuilder now. He's still in shape.
Oh yeah, that man can run.
You're going to tell me he can't run a 7-yard hitch?
The ghost of James
Get a
Cook.
first down?
Absolutely.
He's got 3
not James
7-yard
Cook,
hitches in him.
I was about to say,
Were you
Cook
talking
plays for
about
Bills.
the privateer from like
Jared Cook.
1780
Jared Cook.
that discovered
Jared Cook. Oh my gosh, I forgot.
That's who I was talking about. Not James Cook. Jared Cook.
I forgot about Jared Cook.
Dude, one of the greatest catches and throws I've ever seen. Remember that
Jared
one?
Cook was always the guy who was like, "Oh, your tight end's on a bye. You can stream Jared Cook.
Yeah.
Like, just pick him up. Maybe he scores a
It
touchdown."
didn't matter where he was. And he was always good
No.
for some reason. Like, dang, Jared Cook just had 28 points. Why?
For like 6 years, he was the guy. Your tight end's on a bye. Stream Jared Cook. Just pick him up. Maybe he falls in the end zone.
He was always going to score. Always.
Crazy.
Jared Cook had 6 catches today, 3 touchdowns. Why?
It's ridiculous.
All right. Anyways, let's ask this question though. All right. We'll talk about just these two guys. We'll talk about just Davante and Garrett Wilson. Dynasty values. What are we doing now? I mean,
This is interesting.
because Davante has
Yeah.
multiple years left on this
They-
deal,
they
and he
do-
restructured it. He's going to restructure it again.
Yeah.
like
His deal
he's
is
going to be
through
on the team.
2026. He is
Yeah.
locked in.
I'm looking at Spotrac.
Yeah.
It says they have an out next year.
He's
I'm not saying they'll
already
take it, but they
rest-
do.
Yeah, no, he's already restructured it, and it said he's going to restructure it again. Like, he could restructure it to where it's a real deal through 2026, or he could restructure it to where, okay, whenever Aaron retires, trade me somewhere else. You know, I don't know what's going to happen there.
Because part of the issue, wasn't it, that he didn't have any more guaranteed money left on his deal that he
Right.
signed 2 years ago. And so that was part of going to be what was going to be interesting about this trade. Now, the Jets had to eat all the money to get it done, but I would imagine there's some more guaranteed money that gets put on this deal somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to be different. I mean, I'm definitely obviously Garrett Wilson's value's higher in Dynasty, of course, like rounds higher, right? But I'm also just more comfortable investing in him, even at price right now in Dynasty, just because Davante coming to the Jets is clearly tied to Aaron. Aaron could definitely call it quits at the end of this year. I would probably put my money on him calling it quits at the end of this year. So, like, what happens then? Are we in the same boat next year where, like, I came to play with this quarterback, he's gone, get me out of here? Like, he just did that with Derek Carr. So,
Trade for Derek Carr.
because Davante, because it's so tied to Aaron, I feel weird about investing in him in Dynasty. I really do. I really think he's gonna be good rest of season. Like I said, I think he's a wide receiver 2 right now. But like, man, I don't know.
So this is it. Like, what would you trade for Davante in Dynasty right now in terms of pick value? Because he's not a guy you really need to be trading for anyway because of the age thing. But like, if you're a contender, it's a guy you probably can trade for. And it's weird because usually when trades like this happen, they are instantly sell highs. But because
Yes.
of Davante's age and the situation, it's not necessarily a sell high. It might be a buy high, but I don't know if the value's all that high.
Yeah, I am not buying Davante Adams until I see this thing for 3 weeks. I'm just not. I think it actually is. I think it is a little bit of a. It's definitely buy high. I think it's a sell high because of the names. It's Davante and Aaron Rodgers. Like, we know what that looks like.
What's the
we
price tag
know.
though? Say you're in a super flex league, and you're a contender, and you're like, I want Davante Adams in my flex. What do I pay for it?
The price tag is I'm not doing it for 3 weeks. Like, and
Even
look,
what if a second rounder, like a second rounder, you don't do that?
I mean, okay, maybe a contending second I might do, but I'm saying like, if they're not asking for a second, assuming someone right now who has Davante who's like, oh, I just struck gold, I can sell him way higher now.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to meet that price knowing, hey, what if he's the wide receiver 4 rest of season? Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility, and you could be losing out on that. I get that. I'm willing to take the risk to see it for a few weeks because you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I know it's Davante and Aaron, but Garrett Wilson's a great player. Aaron's older. He's not the same guy he was 3 years ago when he was with Davante.
And I don't want.
So that's the price right now. I'm not doing it for 3 weeks is the price.
I don't put people to like undersell Garrett Wilson either. Like, he legitimately is still one of the most talented receivers in the NFL. Like, he's not. He's probably not Jamar Chase, but like he's not far off like that level of talent either.
No, let's get Josh's feel of Davante's price, and then we can talk about Garrett Wilson a little more.
So with Davante, if I'm selling, I'm trying to get a first. Because when these things happen, you're just, give me a first. I don't know if you can get a first for him if you can do it.
Yeah.
When I'm
Maybe
buying him, I don't really want to pay a first because I don't know. Like you said, wait 3 weeks. If I can get it done for a second, or if I can do some sort of package, let's say this, take Amari Cooper because he got traded. Now his value is sort of in flux too. If you happen to have Amari Cooper, you couldn't trade him for packing peanuts 5 minutes ago. And now his value is in a spot where people are interested. Maybe you can turn him and something else into Davante Adams, I'd probably be considering that. But I don't know. Davante's tough. As a contending team in several leagues, I did not immediately send out trades for Davante Adams.
No.
I was kind of waiting and seeing.
No.
And I
didn't
didn't
send a
have
single
him on
trade for him.
team, so I didn't know what to do if I was selling him either.
Yeah, I've got 2 shares, maybe 3 shares, and like, I'm not selling him. He's a hold. I want to see this thing. I really do, because I think there's a world where he is a top 8 play at some point like this season. I really think that, but also there's just so much uncertainty. There's so much uncertainty with Aaron, and I mean he's shown like last year. He didn't have good quarterback play, and where did he finish? I mean, he was not bad. I mean, not
He was
terrible.
like 11.
Yeah, he was
You're
like
still a wide
receiver
receiver
11. But also, like, let's say next year they have bad quarterback play again. Also, he didn't have Garrett Wilson on the other side last year. He had Jacoby Myers. So, at the end of the day, if they get a new quarterback next year and he's no good, right? Or let's say he's the 25th best quarterback in the NFL, it's hard to support 2 receivers. And that's going to be a bad situation for both guys. So I don't want to pay. I don't want to buy Davante till I see it. I'm buying him as I would buy an Alvin Kamara or Derrick Henry right now, where it's like, I'm only buying you because you can win me the league this year. Yeah, I'm not buying you because you're going to give me anything next year.
So what do y'all do with Garrett Wilson in Dynasty then?
Buy him.
Yeah. I
What is
still
the
think
price?
Garrett's about the same as he was in my head, because like maybe he drops a little bit in some people's eyes because of the risk of Davante, which is what, like, I agree with Landon, he's a buy, but like people kind of factored into his price too, expecting Aaron to leave next year, so we don't know who his quarterback's going to be. So I feel like that was kind of already a little baked into his price.
Yeah, he's probably dipped a little bit, just because. I mean, he was a guy who you could legitimately say, man, he's young, he's got a great like future, and there's potential. Like, he could be a league winner this year. You know, it was kind of shaping up that way with the targets he's got the last 2 weeks. Now there's a lot more uncertainty with whether he can be a league winner this year. So, I mean, you take a dip when that happens, but he's really good. Like, Davante's not going to be there forever. And I'm still not 100% sure he's going to be, you know,
We don't know he's the
not
2.
good this year. But yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely the 2 in the red zone. But, you know, it wouldn't shock me if he out-targeted Davante the rest of the year. But I think, I mean, like, where I would rather have him than I'd have, you know, Olave or Waddle or guys in that range. Like, definitely give me Garrett Wilson. He's probably right around. If we actually sat down and went through it, he's somewhere around wide receiver 8 to 11 in Dynasty, probably.
But that's where he was anyway, so his value really hasn't changed much.
Yeah, I thought it was becoming an actual conversation between like him and Puka, and I don't think that's a conversation. I think I would definitely prefer Puka at this point. But like that's where I mean he might have dropped Puka and the 2 rookies and.
Maybe you could argue Drake London, maybe
Nico, and maybe Nico. Like Nico's probably jumped him. Nico's jumped him. The 2 rookies have jumped him. Puka was already ahead of him, and then the conversation is probably him or Rashee Rice, something like that. So I think he's right there, wide receiver 8 to 11. But I think there are managers now. Smart dynasty players are going to stick to that, and they're going to hold him at that price. There are managers out there who were like, I really was counting on Garrett Wilson to win me the league this year, and he's not going to. And they're going to sell him for a little less than that, and you could really capitalize, I think, in certain leagues.
We saw the message today in the Granddaddy of them all where it was, I can't remember exactly how it was worded, but it wasn't come get Garrett Wilson, but it was, oh my gosh. You could just see it. You sensed it. Like, this was a guy that was counted upon to get it done and win a championship this year. And
Best
now,
believe I sent a trade for him.
right. So, and that's where I'm leading into it. If y'all sent trades and you are willing to share your trade secrets, what is the buying price now? Because an opportunity potentially opened up in the Granddaddy of them all to go get him from that manager, depending on if that manager was feeling a little frisky or not. But
in a super flex, let's just go super flex. I know that league's not, but let's just go super flex. I mean, any first that isn't like guaranteed to be top 3, I would send for Garrett. Any first, like even if it's a mid first, Garrett Wilson is far and away worth that, and he's worth more than that. So if there's like a manager out there who's like, well, I was counting on him to be good, and maybe, if you can get him for a first, I would do that. I would do that for sure. I would send Olave plus. I'd send Waddle plus. I'd send, like I said, I think I probably have him right around Rashee Rice. Maybe Rice a touch higher right now. But, I mean, that's the range he's going in. So, like, anything, if you can get him for Drake London, I would definitely do that. Like, I still prefer him to Drake London. Ben, I think you just mentioned that name.
Yeah, they're close. I agree with you. I give the nod to Garrett Wilson too, just because of the production and how talented he is.
Yeah, Devonta Smith plus, like, go get him for that. Like, I think that's fair.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about the other trade that happened yesterday?
Big news.
This was a big one.
Yeah.
I love how it happened so quickly after the Davante. They're like, "Oh, we got Davante Adams." Like right after the Jets lost to the Bills, like, "Okay, let's go get Davante."
No, you know what really happened? No.
Yeah, and they had just played.
What really happened was Drake May made his appearance through 3 touchdowns, and the rest of the division said, "Oh, we have a problem. We got to go remedy this situation. Trade for star wide receivers."
I don't think that's
I
a
didn't have that
strange
take in
take.
the back.
But
that
okay.
is
I thought what happened
1,000% what happened in real life. Take it to the bank. No conspiracy theories here.
I thought they had this Amari Cooper trade probably just sitting on the table, but they were working on Davante, and when they lost out, they were like, "All right, we'll just take this Amari Cooper trade."
That's probably actually what happened. That's probably actually
that was my
what
feel. That was my feel on the situation, but I don't know. I'm not in the rooms, guys. I'm not in the rooms.
This trade though, I love this one.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Potentially even more than the Davante trade. Not that like Amari Cooper's going to have a bigger impact than Davante Adams. Like no, Davante's probably one of the most impactful players in football. But like from it just, gosh, it makes so much sense for the Bills. That was the perfect move for them. The perfect move.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for the Bills.
What did they end up having to give up to get him? Was it a 5th?
No, they gave up a 3rd round pick and a 7th round pick, and they got Amari and a 6th round pick.
Wonderful work.
Yeah.
And they're paying him
contract?
$800,000.
Yeah,
for 1 year.
What does that contract look like?
1 year, $800,000.
That's it.
$800,000. I think Cleveland's paying him like $20 million.
He's a free agent next year.
Yeah.
He's a free agent. Wow.
But I think I can't remember the exact number. I want to say Cleveland is paying basically his entire all the extra stuff. It's like $20 million or something, and Buffalo is paying his base salary of $800,000.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's a freaking steal for Buffalo. And what I thought was interesting is like Buffalo they have been spreading the ball around so much. Like it's crazy how spread out the ball has been. So they haven't had a true number one. I don't know how much of a fantasy impact Cooper has like Davante has, because he's obviously got the instant connection with Aaron. But like, obviously, is he the one? He's probably the one. He's got to be the one, right? When he steps on.
He's the one.
He's the one.
But he's not like 12 targets a game. One.
He's the one after, several weeks. He doesn't have the chemistry, so he's not going to walk right in with the knowledge of the offense and everything that Davante is. Like, they're running basically the same stuff that they ran in Green Bay. Hackett's there, right? Like, Aaron's there. That's not the case for Amari. I would say probably the first few weeks, like, they'll probably have a couple plays that for him to get him a touchdown. Like, so I think him scoring a touchdown in the first game is probably likely just because they're going to try to get him in the end zone. Like, they're going to draw up something for him. But he's not going to have a full grasp of the offense yet, so it's going to take him a few more weeks. But I think after 3-4 weeks, like, he's definitely the one.
Yeah.
Like, 100% the one.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't give him a
he
third-round
won't have
pick.
the instant Davante impact. Like, Davante, genuinely, I wouldn't be surprised if he has 12 targets and 102 yards with Aaron, but I don't think Cooper does that right away. But at the same time, that's literally the only piece the Bills' offense was missing. I feel like that's all they needed was a wide receiver to be the one, because they didn't have a one. Khalil Shakir was your one? No. Keon Coleman? No.
And they haven't been throwing to wide receivers all that much. They have been spreading it around, but it's been the tight ends have been getting it, the running backs have been getting it, the receivers have been getting some, and overall they just haven't been throwing the ball all that much. That's been the trend throughout the year. That's been odd. I mean, we saw it at the end of the year last year once Stephon Diggs started face planting and the offensive coordinator changed. They stopped throwing the ball as much and they started running the ball more.
This sign just says they hated Stephon Diggs. That's all this is. We hated
when you got to
Diggs.
pay a dude that, I mean, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I feel like Amari Cooper and Stephon Diggs are in the same area code in terms of ability and talent at this
definitely.
point in their career.
Definitely.
And you're paying a dude a 20th of what you would have had to pay Stephon Diggs
And
right now.
Cooper, and obviously I don't know any of them personally, but I don't feel like Cooper is a big,
Not a diva.
no, he's not a diva. He's going to come in and, he's low maintenance. He's going to do his job.
Yeah.
So
So what
funny
does this
over there,
mean for the weapons for the rest of this team? Because I think we all agree Amari Cooper is the one. What does this do to Keon Coleman, whatever. But the real question I think is, does this impact Josh Allen? How much? Does this
Definitely
impact
impacts
Dalton
Allen.
Kincaid? How much?
This is great for Allen.
Yeah, obviously it's great for Allen.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
Josh
for him.
Allen, he's still shown what we've always seen from him.
Yeah, Allen's in a big slump right now. He's QB5. That's a big slump for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the ability every week to get you 60 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Like, that doesn't go away. And just having a guy like he's shown, he was, if we're going to be honest, he was almost not out of the league, but he was not going to be a starter after his first couple years. And then he gets a guy that you can pepper with targets, and he turns into Josh Allen. And then he didn't have him this year. He was in, like you said, a big slump, QB5. But I think having a guy like this, obviously it helps him. I think you asked if Davante was kind of the tide that raises all ships, and I'm not sure that's the case. I do think that with Amari. I think this is pretty good for Kincaid. Kincaid's problem is Dawson Knox. It's not the receivers.
Good.
Not
Lord,
what
don't
we
get
were
me
expecting going into this season, that's for sure.
So here, I don't have any shares of Kincaid, okay? So it doesn't bother me. But when you're watching the game, all right, Kincaid has a little bit of what you got a few years ago with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison, where they look the same.
Yes.
They're the
They
same
look
human.
the same. So when you see it, you're like, and you have one of those guys, you're like, if you have Kincaid, you're like, yes, this week when there was that touchdown in the corner of the end zone.
thought it was Kincaid.
And you're like, yes. And then you watch four replays and you're like, I can't see if it's 86 or 88. I cannot tell. And then you see it's 88 and you're like, oh my God.
And that's the thing.
But anyway.
Their numbers look the exact same
They look
from
the same.
90% of all camera angles.
Two
They
big
look
white guys wearing 86 and 88.
When I was a Dalvin Cook owner a few years ago, I cannot tell you how many times I got up from the TV to look and see if it was Dalvin Cook or Alexander Madison. Oh my gosh, it was so annoying. But Kincaid, I think it's good for him. He doesn't strike me as a guy who, he hasn't been a guy that's gotten 12, 14 targets a game. So it's not like, oh, that's being taken away from him. No, that wasn't him anyways. Phil's just going to be a little more open. If there's one thing Amari Cooper can do, I don't care how old he is, he knows how to get open.
Well, my man is
He
a
runs routes
smooth runner.
and gets open. He beats man. He beats zone. He knows how to work it. So
And that's
Phil's just
interesting
going to
you
be
said,
more
because
open.
I was listening to some guy, I can't even remember who it was. It was like on ESPN or something. Like that's something the Bills have really struggled with is they have nobody who can get open on man coverage. So if Amari can do that for him, that's a game changer.
He can definitely do that. Now you're going to see Kincaid against linebackers more often. You're going to see Kincaid against safeties more often as opposed to corners or nickels. So, I mean, that's good for him. And like I said, like Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman, these guys, like I think their production stays the same. Like they haven't been.
They weren't getting
like
10 targets a game anyway.
Your league,
no.
Yeah, if you were counting on them to win your league, I'm sorry, but like they're probably going to be about the same. I think this is I don't think it affects the running backs too much. Like I think this is kind of a tide raises all ships type deal.
Yeah.
What are you sending in leagues for Amari Cooper right now? Because I view him as a 100% competing asset that you don't have to trade the farm to get.
Oh yeah, his dynasty value stays the same because he doesn't have a contract past this year if he stays with the Browns or goes to the Bills.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
less than you trade for Davante, right? Like way less.
Yeah, definitely less than you trade
less.
for. Oh, for sure. But I mean, like, I don't even know. I don't have him anywhere, so I haven't even been thinking like, if I get this offer, am I taking it?
I'll say I tried to do a sort of a deal with him a couple days ago, or I guess yesterday or like the night after the trade went out, and I was trying to get another guy like Geno Smith to be like a backup QB in a league where I'm competing, and the guy wanted like a high first round pick for both of those guys combined, which he was being unreasonable, obviously, but. It's
crazy.
It's going to take second round picks probably, and I don't know if I'm willing to pay that. Not yet.
Yeah, I'd definitely say a second. Maybe a second plus a little bit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a second and a rookie long shot. Jermaine Burton, something like that.
Yeah, Roman Wilson, sure.
Yeah, Roman Wilson. Troy Franklin. Even though there were people out there that loved Troy Franklin, like there were Troy Franklin truthers.
You
out
turn
there.
the tape on, it's like, man, this dude, he's thin as my pinky finger, but my goodness, there's something there.
And who knows? Maybe there will be. Maybe he will turn into something. But yeah, something like that. I mean, Amari. I don't think he has the league-winning potential Davante has. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Davante straight up wins leagues this year. Amari, it would shock me. But I will say this also. Here's something to mention. Some guys get traded mid-season, and it just never pans out. Amari has been traded mid-season before, and it definitely panned out.
100%.
Remember when he went to the Cowboys, and they just flourished? So I don't know if it's a mental thing with guys when they get traded mid-season or what. I don't know if some people just have trouble learning a new system.
A mental thing, leaving Cleveland to go to Buffalo? Are you serious?
Well, I mean, you get to go from the dude who was on the commissioner's list for 16 months to Josh Allen, the all-American fella, throwing you. Like, I got to feel like that room, it's just an exhale. It's like, oh, this is so much better, guys. This is great. And we're winning.
The mental thing was more of a learning a new system, not a emotional thing.
Okay, that's fair.
But I would think
Amari's also like a 10-year pro at this point. Like he can pick up the game quick.
As long as Cleveland didn't crush his spirit completely, which is possible.
Could have happened.
But he wakes up feeling a lot better. I'll say that. Like he wakes up feeling a lot better in Buffalo than he did in Cleveland.
And I want to say one last thing for Josh Allen is I think he sort of proved he's still good without a true number one. Like, he's got 13 touchdowns, no interceptions this year after we basically wrote him off without Diggs. So he proved what he needed to prove, that he's that guy now. So now go get Cooper and he's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, that offense is going to be better. They're going to be better.
I've been like just following other people's rankings rest of the season, and like people were dropping Josh Allen below like the Jalen Hurtses and guys like that, and even like towards the Kyler tier, which I thought was it's bad,
grief.
bad idea personally, but like he's got to be at least in a 3-way tie now with Lamar and Jaden. Like he's back up there.
I think he's clearly one now.
Okay, Josh.
I like.
I mean,
it. Thank you.
I was the guy asking questions. I was the dude
Okay, Josh.
after week 3 and 4 being like, dude, I don't know. There's something a little bit different this year about his fantasy production. Maybe, just maybe, he's not the QB1 moving forward. They get Amari Cooper. He's the QB1.
He back.
Yeah.
He's back. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great to hear.
He's that guy.
All right. Was there anything else you guys had in mind? It was kind of a last minute episode. Just hey, we need to talk about these things because these are kind of big deals. These aren't like Mike.
These are big ones.
These are not Mike Williams gets traded midseason. No, these are wildly impactful players getting traded.
Big
Is
stuff.
there any team? Is there a team? Just real quick. Mike Williams can get traded to where we're interested.
Kansas City.
No.
They need a
Okay.
receiver.
No.
No, but like seriously, Kansas City needs a receiver.
He's
No,
not
he's
any
not a-
more impactful in Kansas City. I mean, he would be slightly
No.
more impactful, but he would not be impactful.
Okay, Chargers.
He's not a. Oh
Well-
my gosh, the Chargers.
They have the opportunity to do the funniest thing.
No, he's not a guy at this point. Wherever he goes, like you're not counting on him in fantasy. He's the type of guy that may make an offense better in the NFL, but he's not going to.
Well, he didn't make the Jets better when Aaron threw that pick.
And Aaron lets you know it too.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron lets you know it. Oh
He
my
said,
gosh.
"We're getting Davante, and you just got put on the trade block," which is what happened. Sucks for him. Anyway, I reckon that'll do it for us. Appreciate you
That's all I
guys
got.
listening. Leave us a like, leave us a review, leave us a comment if you're watching on YouTube. I'd like to get the comments going, see what you guys think. And yeah, we will see you guys in the next one.